Hi guys, it's Jazz1122 here, and I'm here for the reading for the Sagittariuses out there. How are all my fellow Sagittariuses doing out there? I would like to appreciate each and every one of you that have taken time to watch my channel, and I want to say a big thank you to those that have actually subscribed. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Also, before I get into the reading as well, remember, just as a disclaimer, that if this reading does not resonate with you or the person you're watching for, just remember that it could be for someone else out there that could hear this message. Okay, so let's see what's going on for us Sagittarius for February 11th through February 17th. The past couple weeks, I've been doing some very good readings for us. I've been excited about that. I know for myself as a Sagittarius, because I'm also going through a Saturn return, because I natively have Saturn in Cap. So also Jupiter is in Sagittarius. So this is a big wrap up of like my whole life up to this point with Saturn. And not only that, but I also a sun sign Sagittarius, like I said, of course. But Jupiter is back home in Sagittarius, so that's another 12-year cycle. So I'm going through a complete reset on my end and really building new structures, new thoughts, new ideas. Like, this is part of what I'm doing as well. Like, I feel like since Saturn is back home, the sixth house has to do with work and service and the service to humanity. And I always wanted to, I always knew that I was some type of healer, even when I was in school, I did a paper on, I used to be a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse. So I did a paper on being an LPN. I wanted to be a nurse. Then I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to be a social worker. And then I also realized what was the main thing that I wanted to do. It was to help people heal. But then I changed it into going into healing, mentally and spiritually, because I realized it's through our mental that affects our lives, how we think. So I always was interested in finding people's stories and listening to them, like what kind of trauma you went through, so I could get a better feel for people. Because I always was good at pointing things out to people, but then again, people didn't really like to hear what I had to say, because I would usually say things that no one else around them was saying, but then again, I wasn't like everyone else. So with me going into this, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I actually found something that I wanted to do, and I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to share a story about myself on this video with all you fellow Sagittariuses. I feel like I want to share this with you guys. Is I was in fast food for about 9 years, I would say. It was my first and only job. And I was there for, of course, a while. And I was growing, accelerating, well, not at first, because I was still in high school. I was like a regular teenager. Not trying to really go to work, just trying to experience life, not to put too much on myself. So as I got into my 20s, my early 20s, that's when my natal return happened. And that's ironically when I became a manager. And it worked out for a while. That first year, I had raises, I was taking classes, I was really accelerating. And then at a point, like, it was started really when it was 2015 and Saturn was in Sagittarius. And he was in my fifth house. So it was a lot of restriction in that part of what I found matters of the heart. And that came towards love and everything, and I had to really dig deep and to really start to put down foundations when it came to what I want in my life, because the people I was around, my job started to get stressful. So I tried to stay with it. And then from there was this instance where I was on a job, and this was 2017. And from that point, there was a man that came in my job, and he came in very, like, kind of violently, I guess you would say. And he threw his sandwich at me. Sorry about my throat. He threw this sandwich at me, like, I don't want this, give my money back and all this stuff like that. So what stood out to me about that incident was, okay, I was like, I've been here 9 years. No one has ever treated me like this. And ironically, that was my warning sign. So it was after that, then I, as a reflex, because I'm like, listen, I don't let anyone disrespect me. Like, there's to a certain extent where I'm gonna let you go, but when you throw a half-bitten sandwich at me, like, I'm no, no, no. So from that point, I knew that this was a warning for me. So this happened in February, and then it was in April that I started to feel like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. And things at the job was a mess. When I mean a mess, like nobody was working together. Everybody was on their own sides. People was backstabbing people, like people lying on people, people snitching on people. Like it just went to crap, right? So I remember like telling my boyfriend, because me and him were both managers at the time, and I was like, I feel my soul was telling me I'm done. Like I was at work and I heard this voice say, I'm done. Like you're done. That's all it said. That was one of the first few times I heard my higher self talk. I thought I was just thinking about it, right? So that voice wouldn't go away. So I said, okay, well, I can't quit because, I was in credit card debt as well. So I was like, I can't do this. How am I going to just jump out on the leap of faith? I know I wanted to work from home. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that I was an independent worker, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to part-time, and when I went to part-time, I felt even worse, honestly, because even though I was there for like 3 days out the week, I slept the rest of the days because I was trying to focus on doing both, and it was no longer serving two masters at the same time. So, of course, I got into a situation that caused me to get fired. But while everybody around me was looking like, oh my gosh, Jazz, how would you allow that to happen? Like, what are you going to do? This and this. And I was like, but my soul already told me what was about to happen. And what was so profound about that was it was a whole event from that point where I had nothing but to rely on my spirit guides and my higher self through the dark. That was a whole nother dark night of the soul, because then my boyfriend, he lost his grandfather a week after, I got fired. And then when I got fired, he quit because they wasn't treating him fairly either. So then we went through that, and it was just so to see us where we are now. The whole point of this message is, to the Sagittarius is out there, if there's anything that you're starting to feel like your higher self is telling you, or something seems to be going crazy in your life, just know that it is so important to tune into yourself, because your higher self is guiding you the whole time. And now I look back, I was like, what was I so afraid of? Like, what? It taught me that the experience I went through in 2017 is what the collective is experiencing right now in America, with the government collapsing. I went through that. I didn't depend on the government, but the job that I was in was my form of government, depending on something outside myself. So I had to go through my own experience where I had to fend for myself. So I just wanted to give a brief introduction about me. I just felt really connected to share this with you guys. And if you're going through any tough times, just like know that it'll get better. And you may not see it now, but your soul knows what's going on. And so without further ado, let's get into the reading. That was about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go into what the universe has to say for us for February. And I think why I wanted to talk about that, ironically, as I said that happened in February 2017, here we are, February again. It's about a week and so since that happened 2 years ago. It's hard to believe this is where I'm at. So I'm proof that if you just don't resist the changes, I promise you, you will be in a whole other place, and you will be like, why didn't I do it sooner? And I asked myself that. That showed me how far I limited myself. And it's crazy. You don't really realize how much you let fear limit you. And fear is only of the unknown. But how would you grow if you don't ever step into the unknown? Because after a while, that comfortable spot is going to start to be your misery, because it served its purpose and now you're just used to it. And in life, that's why they tell us not to get connected or attached to anything and anyone. Well, we all connected, but the attachment, that's where codependency come in. And you're not in the ebb and flow because you're trying to hold on to people, places, and things that has served its purpose. And to the point that they have no choice but to hurt you. That's what the position I was in. My job had no choice but to treat me like a piece of crap. But at the same time, they were a reflection of me not knowing my worth. The fact that I wasn't getting a raise after a while. And I said, hey, I'm just going to work harder. I'm just going to do this. But it was for me to learn, like, my worth is not based on dollars. You know, I got wrapped up in that, you know, and many of us do. So for me to go without the physical materials, but trust and believe that all my needs were taken care of, it showed me like I am everything, even when I feel I am nothing, because I'm always everything, you know? So let's just see what the universe has to say. Sorry, that was about 10 minutes. So we have the high priestess here. So with the high priestess here, we are totally tapping into the other realms, the feminine side. You know, we're tapping into what the universe is trying to tell. And ironically, this is this is coming out as I was saying how your soul is trying to talk to you. So maybe this is why I felt the need to share this message with you guys, is that your intuition could be showing you things, or you have feelings, or you're seeing certain synchronicities that the universe is trying to get your attention. Or also maybe you are tapped in and you're learning more ways to get more tapped into, so you can listen to your higher self in more ways than just another. You know, that's beautiful. The high priestess, she's powerful. She stands in her own space. So a lot of you guys could also be more isolated. I know I am. I can speak for me. I mostly do a lot of time just connecting to my higher self and figuring out ways to work more with my higher self so we could come to a compromise, you know, so I don't have to get my head knocked off like I did, you know, because I was too stubborn to let go. And we have the Emperor here. So with the Emperor here, we are trusting our intuition and taking control of our lives. We are stepping back into that fiery energy because Jupiter is back home, and we are ready to take the reins of our lives. I feel this week, it is awesome that we are tapping into our intuition, because that makes us more confident. It balances, look, it's the Emperor. So it's like the masculine side. So you're getting all the information from the spiritual realm. So then in the physical realm, you come off as the Emperor, because you have some knowledge that others may not have. And as a Sagittarius, I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. We could see things or say things that can be ahead of time, and we try to tell people, we be like, hey, our intuition is trying to tell us to tell you this, and that person be like, no, you're crazy, this and this and that and that. Then how many times have you actually come across that same person you tried to tell somebody about, they then tell you, oh my gosh, you was right? That's like a form of Sagittarius intuitiveness, because I can't explain it. Like, it's a certain intuitive thing. Like, I'm not like a clairvoyant or anything. It's just, I can just see, I could just feel. I'm more of a clairsentient. That's why I always use feel so much. I really tap in my intuition by feeling. So I'm going to say what I feel, because I feel if I don't, hey, if you don't listen to me, that's fine. That's completely okay. But I know for me, as my responsibility is, if I feel this way and I feel I have a message to tell you, I'm going to tell you. And from that point on, whether you listen or not, that's not my issue, but I did my job. So I feel like you guys are stepping into that energy as well, where you guys are trusting your intuition. And if your intuition is telling you to help somebody and they kind of blow you off, you're like, hey, well, listen, that's not my problem. So let's see what else the universe has in store for February 11th through February 17th. We have the Nine of Wands. I feel like this week we could be tapping more of our intuition, because we could have made a boo-boo. By boo-boo means we could have moved too fast. Maybe we thought we had it all together and some things fell apart, or it's something that this week can cause something that could cause injury. But however, this also could have already happened. You could probably just sit on it, where you're thinking about, okay, how can I intuitively tap into these people, places, and things, so that way I don't end up injuring myself. That's what I feel from that. And we have the Empress. So with the Empress here, we are giving birth to new beginnings. We are definitely more in the feminine energy, I'm feeling, because Sagittarius is a masculine energy. So I feel like that's just what we are usually just working on. But however, I feel now we're starting to tap more into the feminine. I can say this is so true. Because I have Aquarius moon and Sagittarius sun. They are both masculine signs. And I have Mercury Sagittarius, Venus in Sagittarius, a lot of masculine in my chart. So for me, tapping into this feminine realm is something different for me, you know? So I feel like a lot of Sagittarius out there are really seeing how listening to their intuition really puts them in the Empress energy, where they're able to be creative and free flowing. And these two matter so much because it is the high priestess that is behind, to me, the Empress. You know, she taps into what's hidden, and the Empress is what you see on the outside. And also, you are your own counterpart. Look at that. We are our own counterpart, the Empress and the Emperor. I feel like we are loving and appreciating ourselves and learning that it is the balance within us, is the balance that we will see in our reality. That's beautiful. So let's go into why the High Priestess is here. We have the Seven of Wands. And we have the Strength. So I feel like for Sagittarius out there, if you are feeling any opposition from people, the universe is saying to you that we are here. Is because you are such in a powerful energy, there may be people trying to start stuff with you. There may be people trying to throw you off track. So the universe is saying, use your intuition and know that we are behind you. Remember to hold back that fiery energy too. You know, because this is us when we get mad. You know, we let you have it. So I feel like the universe is like learn how to retain that a bit much. Tune into the energy that this person is giving you, and just know that you do not have to fight every fight physically. It's about you not getting knocked off your square where someone's coming against you and then you lose all control. That's why the universe is saying tap into that intuition and hold back that fire, because certain people are waiting for that fire to come out so they could get you into some karma that you ain't got no business into, because they know how to hit that trigger. So this week, just be careful of people who may be trying to trigger you this week, and just remember to have strength and hold that back and trust your intuition. So let's see why the Emperor is here. We have the Ten of Wands. And we have the Ace of Swords. So with the Emperor, the Ten of Wands, and the Ace of Swords, we have us stepping into our Emperor power, taking control, because we have been feeling burdened. You know, people don't realize that Sagittarius is, yeah, we're happy and go lucky, but we deal with a lot. You know what I'm saying? And just like anyone deals with a lot, but I'm saying because people are usually seeing us as like happy and go lucky and expanding, they don't see the behind the scenes, that this is how we feel. You know, to the world, they're like, they see this, but to us, we're still going. We're holding all these wands, especially when it comes to people that we care about. You know, we be trying to hold the hats of everything and everybody sometimes. And I feel like now we are taking control to cut some of that off, to know when it's time to not carry so much. And I feel that we're coming to the realization that it is us that has kept us burdened, because, you know, we try to help everything and everybody, and, you know, we try to be the happy-go-lucky person to pick people up when they're down. But I feel with this, we're trying to tap more into ourselves and be that to us, because we have felt so burdened over time, you know? And that is such a great energy to be in, is because we need to learn more how to nourish ourselves, because our ruling planet is Jupiter, and, you know, Jupiter can get too expansive, and this is probably a way that you may have expanded your life too much, and now you're realizing, okay, let me tap into that Saturn energy and let me restrict some of that, because if I don't, with Jupiter, you're going to keep going and going and going and going. So you need Saturn in a sense to kind of bring you back to reality, to help you organize yourself And that's what's so important. I think that's what Saturn is here making us realize too, in Capricorn, in forms of our structures, is bringing truth to how you have overextended yourself using too much Jupiter energy, and how you might need to constrict some things for the future. So let's see why the Nine of Wands is here. Have a flipper. See why the Nine of Wands is here. We have the Page of Rods. And we have the Queen of Cups. So this is what I was saying about feminine energy. Again, the Queen of Cups, this is a psychic card. You know, so this is tapping into, this could be, like I said, how you got hurt from situations in life, and now you're tapping into now not only High Priestess, but Queen of Cups. Like I said, learning how to be more balanced emotionally and not just reacting. So I feel like you're now realizing the times this week that you may have hurt yourself by reacting too fast, but now you're looking at the new beginnings of you tapping into a whole nother power within yourself, Sagittarius. This is beautiful, because I can say this is me. I'm definitely the Page of Rods. This is new. Tapping into the Queen of Cups and the High Priestess and Empress energy. You know, I love how peaceful my life is. Like, I can't explain it. Like, I wake up, no matter what money's in my bank account, that does not define who I am. It's the fact of peace when I wake up in the morning. Like, I control who's in my space. I can allow people, you know, access to me on my terms. You know, really being that emperor and saying no. Like, I'm tired of just giving myself to everything and everybody, and I'm left feeling like this. But when I feel like this, who's there to help me? And I know some Sagittarius can relate to that, because people are so used to us carrying the load for them that they don't realize until we're gone that the difference we really made. And then people try to come back because they used to us. They be like, oh, wait, I need that person back. So, you know, so we have to watch out for people like that who suck off our energy because we are so powerful. We're positive. We like to think optimism, but people will suck us dry. So Sagittarius, please don't let people do that. So be more in the Emperor energy of who you allow in your space, because you are precious. Everyone's precious, but this is a Sagittarius reading. So, you know, we are precious. So we have to make sure that who we are spending our times with is really who is there to benefit us, and use our intuition to tell us, I feel like you only call me when you want some more. I'm feeling kind of funny about you. These are times we need to go in where these people are going to be disguised even more clever than ever before. And we have to tap into the unknown to see with our third eye who really people are, because with our physical eye, they're going to look like us. But we're going in times where you have to use your third eye to be aware of what's going on around you. So let's see why the Empress is here. We have the Star. Okay. All right. Aquarius season here too. Let's see. A lot of flippers. Okay. We have the King of Swords. Wow. 2 Aquarius cards. So, while us being the Empress energy, we are having that faith, hope, renewal. We are seeing feminine energy as well here too. I feel like now that we're tapping into a whole other sides of ourselves, we are now stepping into the King of Swords energy, which is speaking logically. So this goes back to what I was saying about how we get angry and we can kind of go off on a tangent. However, I feel now we're learning this week of the power of speaking more logically, not just reacting. So that's why all elements balance each other. When you think about it, the world wouldn't be the same without fire or water or earth or air. Like, it would be either too dry, too cold, too hot, or too watery. So we all make up the differences. So that's how we are as a collective. So I feel now the fire signs are taking more, especially since it's Aquarius season, you guys are really finding that hope and renewal, but also learning how to communicate in a more mature way. as well and clearly, so there's no problems with communication. So to all my Sagittariuses out there, I appreciate each and every one of you listening to, me share my story. I just felt guided to, so I go with the flow. Maybe someone will feel inspired by my story. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for taking time to watch my channel, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and see you guys next week.